So, according to Hasbro, this is the final X-Men VHS style packaging release for the foreseeable future. They don't intend to make any of these for the year 2023. They're going to focus on the Spider-Man VHS box sets, and then they'll probably uh, come back to the X-Men. I'm sure they will. But for right now, this might be the last one. I've done them all except for Jean Grey. I haven't even gotten her yet for some reason, but I do have Cyclops here, and I'm actually very excited for this figure because he seems to be all new and pretty much superior than the previous Cyclops. He's not just a repaint of that old Cyclops, so I'm excited about that. There's the front art. Here's the side art right here, and on the back side, we get the the standard read up and image there. So everybody brace yourselves because we have now the new definitive version of Cyclops in this Jim Lee 90's X-Men attire. He is, again, sporting the brand new mold, the Vulcan mold, with a slight retooling applied to it, and it is fantastic, I must say. I'm very, very happy with this. Not gonna lie to you, when I was opening him up, I was already bracing myself to catch these straps from falling. I think I'm just traumatized from it. Years of having that happen, but now, worry no more. These are not going anywhere. They are part of the figure. They have the cuts perfectly, right underneath it. That's where the cut is in the leg, and it's really really good. Of course, this is the VHS style packaging. So with the X-Men releases, they are cel shaded, and you can see some of the cel shading right now on the front of the leg, here on the groin and the belt, alongside the right arm, and then the legs here, or the shins, or the boots. On the backside, really not much going on here for cel shading, but there is some nice cel shading here at the torso too, on the abdominal area, under the pecs, here on the sides. It's nothing crazy, and it's actually really clean for once. I've had some issues with some of the earlier releases in the VHS style boxes, and they did have issues with the cel shading, a lot of chipping and scraping. This guy, so far, so good, so I'm really happy about that. In terms of accessories, he only comes with other hands, so you can see the pair of fists on the figure right now. He does have a left open hand, so as you can see right here, and he also has a right open hand, but it is displayed differently or posed differently. You can see the differences there. So left and the right open, and then there's also, of course, the iconic left hand to hold his beam, his visor. That's it though. That's gonna be one of my first gripes, is that lack of accessories. Once again, I felt like at the very least, give us an alternate head sculpt with a yelling head sculpt, or at the very least, give us a beam effect, a plasma beam effect, or an alternate head with the beam effect in his eyes. That would have been cool, or maybe one without the visor on. You could just have him with the regular glasses or whatever, something extra other than some hands. That would have been nicer. So that is a gripe of mine, but for the most part, I'm very, very happy with this figure. Let's take a closer look. Alright, so here's a closer look at Cyclops. We can take a nice look at his face sculpt and his hair sculpt, which looks really, really good. I think that's sculpted very nicely. Not really painted there. I wish that was painted somewhat, but it's not terrible. You can see some more cel shading here on the visor. I didn't catch that at first, here on the shoulder. And then just a closer look at that Vulcan body mold that we all love so much. Everything's pinless, by the way, as you can see. There's the knees and there's the elbows. Beautiful. I don't see any color, differences between the actual, that was an issue, especially with Vulcan himself. His knees were darker than his legs, so I don't see that issue here. So I'm glad that they were addressing it, because for sure that was a big deal for me. But I really, really like how this turned out. Let's go into the articulation here. One of the things that I really like is that the strap is now molded onto the torso, so now the strap won't hinder the ab crunch. It just goes along with it. So you can crunch them forward like this, and look at that. It doesn't, it's not a pliable piece of plastic that's hovering over his torso anymore. It's just attached, and even if you crunch them all the way back, you can see it continues on there. So that's so much better than what we got before. So I'm really happy about that. As for his head, it still sits on a ball jointed hinge. He looks all the way up. He looks all the way down about this far, left and right. And then head tilting, not so much, unfortunately. The arms are going to go forward, up and down. I don't want to, I'm kind of scared about that. I'm going to do this arm because I don't want to scrape the cel shading, just in case there is the arm going in and out. About that far, there's a bicep swivel. Those gorgeous double jointed pinless elbows here. And then you can see this cut right here. Let's see if I can focus onto it. You see that line That is a cut there that the Vulcan figure had because he wears gloves that go up to here, and they had that cut. So you can clearly see that these are the Vulcan arms and the cuts there. I don't really care for it. I'm sure some people are going to be bothered by that line there, but I'm fine. I'm fine with it. To be honest, it's considering how good this figure looks, I think I can overlook it, but definitely would be nicer if it wasn't there for sure. But it is there. It doesn't rotate or anything like that. It's just stationary, just like it was on Vulcan. Now these straps here on the wrist are actually movable, but they're on there pretty tight. They're not gonna go anywhere. If you pop the hand out, yes, you could take it off, but it's not gonna fall off like all those other annoying ones from the previous releases. So it's on there pretty snug, and we have no issues with that. Or at least I don't have any issues there. So we get those nice butterfly joints here at the torso as well. So you can go forward, you can expand them out that far. Also works on this side too. And again, like I mentioned, these straps are glued or molded onto the torso piece. I think they're glued for sure. I can see some glue residue around the edges there. So you can see a little hovering here on this piece. So it's not completely glued in, but it's not going anywhere. And yeah, like I said, it's much nicer than what we got before. The belt is also not going anywhere. It's pretty stationary, so that's cool. As I showed you, the ab crunch works beautifully. There is a waist swivel underneath that belt that's very well hidden. The legs are going to kick forward. They go back down. They go in and out about this far. And then here's the thigh swivel right where the strap is. So the swivel is above the strap, as you can see. And then also down here, the boot cut is below the strap. There's also double jointed pinless knees, as I showed earlier, but here it is again in motion. And then we have the ankle hinge. Check that out. These things are so tight that the entire leg almost pops off, which it can pop off. But I'm gonna have to hold that in and then hinge it there. So ankles have always been tight, which is good. You want to have the figure stabilize. You don't want him to tip over. Loose ankles are the worst, so I get it. But be careful there when hinging it. As you can see, you can probably pop off the entire boot there, which would be nice for customizers. But anyways, that's it. That's your articulation for your Cyclops. It's Vulcan 100%. And I keep saying that, so let's go ahead and bring him in. Alright, so here he is. And you can see their heights are pretty much the same. And that's interesting. I figured these straps were going to extend his height. I thought this was an added on piece of plastic that goes below it. But it actually cuts off. It seems like to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like they shaved off. So this is where the retooling comes in. They shaved off the bottom of the thighs here and on the groin area. Or, let me see. It does, yeah. Okay, so maybe they shaved off the top of the thigh rather than this part. But they shaved off a piece of the leg on the top strap and on the bottom strap to add in these straps so that evenly, the strap, when you add the straps in, that replaces the plastic they shaved off, and that keeps the height the same, if that makes sense. But here you could also see the arms, or the forearms I should say, and you can see where Vulcan is wearing that glove and they sculpted that line. It seems like they would have a swivel there, but they didn't add a swivel there, and that's where that sculpted line comes from on the Cyclops. Now going back to the legs here, I want you guys to see how that kind of works with the shaving off of the leg, because you can see if you're looking at the bottom of the blue right here compared to the top here where it is right below the kneecap, you can see the piece of plastic is much thinner, or there's less plastic than this gap right here from the top of his boot to the bottom of the kneecap. But it is the same sculpt. So what they did was they shaved right here. This is what I am assuming. I don't know for sure, but it looks exactly the same. Just shaved off the bottom, added in the straps, and boom, that's it. The boots seem like they're longer too. So check that out. They just extended the leg up or the boot up. It's retooling. That's it. And I'm all for it. I wish we would see more of this. Other than they easily could have just added in those straps over an overlay, had it fall down, or maybe just glue it there, but then they would be sticking out or whatever you may call it. This one lies in flush with the leg. It sticks out just a little bit, so that gives it that look like it is a strap and not just part of his leg, so that's cool. They just did it well. That's all I'm saying here. They did it very, very well, and I'm glad that they put in the effort. Now, this isn't the first time they did that with the legs. Of course, we got Morph first, and that's actually technically officially the first one that did it, with the straps being in there. So yeah, they share the same legs here, but I love it. Looks great, and this Morph is one of my favorite ones from the VHS cel-shaded wave. And you can see that he is wearing that jacket from the previous Cyclops in the Love Triangle 3-pack, so that means they could easily just re-release the Cyclops with that jacket torso, and there's your new version of the Cyclops with the jacket. But I do hope if they do that, they go out and give us a brand new set of arms at least, where we get double jointed elbows or something a little bit different. But again, this still kind of works. I have no issues with the jacket here. But it would be nice to get something new and different as always, right? But overall, these two look awesome next to each other. Alright, and here it is, and for the longest time this was indeed my favorite Cyclops figure. It's still a great figure, don't get me wrong, but of course we do have those loose straps. I got them way up here because that's the thickest part of the thigh that holds it in. And you can see we do get the pins on the knees and the pins on the elbows. This is on the Bucky Cap mold. At the time, this was fantastic, phenomenal. I love this figure. I still do. He's got some nice paint apps on his hair, but overall, it is outdone, and by this new one here, which is vastly superior in my eyes. It looks so good. Especially here comparing it next to the old one, it just it looks so good. I must say, you can see the hair sculpt differences there as well. They went with a more reddish hair color for the new one, as you can see. And here is that love triangle 3-pack Cyclops with the jacket, upper torso. It is just a repaint of that older Warlock Wave Cyclops I just had in here. So he's got the loose straps and everything, but they did change the color of the blue. But it is the Bucky Cap mold and all. And as you can see, same jacket here with morph. So I'm pretty sure that we're going to get this jacket version again on this new body, on the Vulcan body. So I think that's in the bag for sure. What do you guys think? Now here he is next to the Medicom Toy Mafex version of Cyclops, or Mafex, some people like to pronounce it. And you can see here that these are more similar or more alike than the comparison I just did with the previous Marvel Legends version. In terms of color, Mafex went with the bright yellow, darker bluish color, which is what we're looking at here with the bright yellow and darker bluish on this. So it looks very comic booky. If that makes sense, it looks very animated. So that's why I like the Mafex or Mafex version a lot. You can see in comparison, Legends of course stands taller. The blue on the Mafex is a little bit more metallic, as you can see. Yellows are pretty much the same, other than the fact that this one has cell shading and the Mafex does not have cell shading. So I know there's a way to remove cell shading, or any paint for that matter, with acetone. I've done it for years on the serial numbers they used to put on the thighs. I would always use acetone to remove it if there was no paint on that mold, which normally there wasn't when they put the serial numbers on the plastic. So I know there's a way to do that, but again, it's dangerous because it'll start eating plastic if it's on there too long, so you always want to be quick about it if you really want to go through the process of removing the cell shading on the figure. Make your choice. At this point, this Cyclops is out of stock. It's been out of stock for years, probably triple the price of the Legends version, so this might be a good option for you to grab. And I'll go ahead and throw in the Wolverine from the cell shaded VHS release, and this is actually one of my favorite Wolverines from Hasbro, and they release a ton of them. But I really love this face sculpt, or head sculpt I should say, of the face mask. It's the most iconic. I love the wide wings, or the wide ears. And it just looks nice. And next to Cyclops looks even nicer. So very cool, and happy with this setup. So here he is next to the Storm that I absolutely love and absolutely hate at the same time. I love the head sculpt, the hair sculpt on this thing. The cell shading isn't bad either, but the gummy legs really kill me. Luckily, I have her standing right now, but she has very soft gummy legs. But she looks great, and that's why I really like this look. And next to Cyclops, looks even nicer. So once you get all these cell shaded VHS style releases and side by side, it's gonna make for a very cool, awesome display. All right, so you guys let me know your thoughts on this new and improved Cyclops figure. What do you guys think? Is it better than the previous? I think so. I think this is a perfect example of what a remake should be. Pinless joints, fix any issues that previous releases may have had on that character. But again, they should have gone a little bit all out here and given us at least another head sculpt or an effect piece to display his power set, as we always like to see. But overall, this is definitely going to be a new definitive Cyclops, at least for me, and I think a lot of people are going to really like this one. So with that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. Leave a like, as always, comment down below your thoughts, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and of course, take care, take it easy, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.